This video will focus on West Robson barge, rail, and steamer operations. West Robson was near Castlegar. The Columbia and Western, owned by the Canadian Pacific Railway, ran through the boundary region, which is Zone 7 in yellow, from Midway through Grand Forks, through West Robson, Castlegar, down through Trail into Rossland. Today our focus will be on the West Robson operations. Looking at the details in the Castlegar area, the Columbia and Western Railway, which was bought by the Canadian Pacific Railway in 1898, runs from Midway to Rossland BC. On the picture below, the pinky color entering from the left is the Columbia and Western as it follows the Columbia River towards West Robson. At West Robson, that's where we'll see the barge activity. From West Robson, the Columbia and Western continues to Castlegar and then heads south following the Columbia River all the way down to Trail. Okay, we're at West Robson. We're at the north end of the yard. This track, and we're going to do a drone view here. So the track below us is the main line that comes from Grand Forks over the Farron Hill. We have the water standpipe at the north end. Here we've got a switcher just pulling out a string of cars. And the first spur that we come upon is the barge track that goes down and has two tracks going onto the barges. The next spur over is for the wharf, and then there's two freight spurs off of the wharf. And we have the passenger siding at the station. There was a passenger siding here at West Robson as the train order rules required passenger trains to wait up to 2 hours for the sternwheelers. So they had to have their own siding. We have the main below us and we have the one siding off to the right. The freight spurs were about 14 cars each, and consists that went to E-Halt Junction or Smelter Junction were built here. And at the very south end of the yard we have the Y. The Y was in operation from 1898 to 1902. And we then hit the south end yard limits. Okay, we're at West Robson. Engine 737 and L3280 has just picked up the first string of cars that are going to Midway, Greenwood, and the Anaconda Smelter. This string of cars was blocked, combining both coke cars, coal cars, and loaded general merchandise box cars from all the barges. They're just pulling it off the spur here, and we'll be putting it up onto the siding, waiting for the train coming from Trail to West Robson, which will pick these cars up. Okay, engine 737 is just pushing the E-Halt Junction consist onto the siding. The siding is off of the main line here at West Robson, and this train will then eventually be picked up and go from West Robson through to E-Halt Junction. Okay, engine 737 is just connecting to the box cars on the barge. This barge load of box cars was brought down river from Arrowhead, which is just south of Revelstoke, by the SS Lytton last night. All of the box cars are full of general merchandise coming from other parts of Canada, and will be switched into trains here by the switcher to work in with the coke and coal cars, basically creating westbound trains heading to E-Halt Junction and southbound trains heading to Smelter Junction. The engine 737 is still pulling box cars off the barge. This view actually gives us a view of Robson across the water. You can see the barge terminal and the town over that way. Just gives you a bit of a feel for the distance across the Columbia River here. Okay, the main line is open again and the switcher has finished. We have work extra number 316, work train heading from Smelter Junction up to Farron. With the number of trestles along the line, there was continual maintenance on all of these trestles, so work trains were quite common through this area in the summer. In the winter, well, they were snow plows. Helper engines number 401 and 403 have just arrived at West Robson, coming down from Farron at the top of the hill where the helper station is located. The two helpers will come here to West Robson. They'll go to the south end of West Robson and turn on the Y. and then we'll come back into the yard and hook themselves into each of the two consists that are waiting to head up Farron Hill. The helpers will cut off at the top of Farron Hill, which is a 2.2% grade all the way from West Robson up to Farron. Extra 787 has just arrived from Smelter Junction with empty ore cars and loaded copper mat and lead cars. Engine 787 is just pushing the box cars here onto the barge. The first set of cars are empty ore cars that will be going back to the Slocan Valley and to East Kootenays for loading lead ore. The first 4 cars are copper mat and lead loads that will be heading on the next barge up to Revelstoke. Extra 787 has received its clearance orders to proceed, departing West Robson, proceeding to Eholt Junction. Leading Extra 787 is a Class M1 280 built in 1900. The helper that's been tacked on in behind is a Class L3 built in 280 built in 1894. This train will be pulling coal cars heading up to Eholt Junction for the CPR. Coal cars coming along in the gondolas for the Anaconda Smelter, Greenwood. Coal cars for the Anaconda Smelter, the coal cars for the Grand Anaconda Smelter in Greenwood. And then we have merchandise cars for Greenwood, Midway, Eholt, and other points in between. Okay, we're at the West Robson passenger wharf. We have the SS Minto just arriving from Robson, and we have passenger train number 62, a first class passenger train that will head from West Robson up to Rossland. Okay, the Minto has arrived and is tied up with the passenger train beside it, number 62. The barge is now fully loaded with empties. Have all come out of Smelter Junction, and the SS Columbia will now take the barge back across the river to Robson for unloading through the Columbia and Kootenay Railway. Okay, there's a bird's eye view of West Robson with the number 62 at the station, both spur sidings filled with cars, the Minto at the passenger dock, barge full with the SS Columbia, and we actually have Extra 771 just coupling up for a trip to Eholt. It gives you also a view. You can see across the Columbia River to Robson, where you can see the barge slip off to the left, the passenger wharf in the station in the middle, and the siding down towards the right side. So this gives us just a nice feel for the area. Okay, Extra 771, which has been given clearance from West Robson to Eholt Junction. This is the second train of the day going over. 771 is a Class M1 280 built in 1900. Engine number 401 is the helper, an L3 built in 1894. And again, what we have is loads of coke in the stock cars, coal going to the smelters, and general goods in the box cars heading over to the boundary region. And at the station there we see number 62 just loading. Before it will head down to the Y, it will turn and it will head to Rossland after number 61 arrives. Number 61, first class passenger train from Rossland to Midway daily, is arriving at West Robson. Pulled by a class D10 460, engine number 194. This train would have left Rossland at 8 a.m., arriving here to interchange passengers with the Minto. So this would be Rossland and Trail passengers wanting to get on the Minto heading north to Revelstoke, and passengers coming down from Revelstoke who need to will join the train going to Grand Forks, Greenwood, and Midway.